Nova Scotia has 13,300 kilometers of coastline, more than 6,700 lakes, hundreds of rivers and wetlands, and abundant groundwater. So why is it important for the province to manage these water systems? Resource-based industries in the province such as forestry, agriculture, fisheries, and mining require a healthy water source. Service-based industries make up 75% of Nova Scotia's GDP and also require safe water to operate. Communities also rely on it for drinking and waste removal, with 40% of Nova Scotia's population using groundwater from wells or springs for drinking water. The other 60% rely on municipal and public drinking water supplies. Also, 45% rely on on-site sewage disposal systems. The First Nations people have also relied on rivers and lakes in Nova Scotia, and they have been essential to their way of life. Water also keeps ecosystems healthy, providing habitats for fish, plants, and insects, and feeds forests, meadows, and crops. Nova Scotia is composed of many small watersheds that flow directly into the ocean, and this calls for high-level watershed planning. However, many activities can threaten water systems. Habitat alteration can affect fish species, block fish migration, and impact reproduction. This can involve dam and weir development, diverting water, and wetland destruction. Water can also be overused and depleted, putting pressure on populations that depend on the water source. With climate change comes increased number of storm surges, floods, and sea level rise, resulting in more erosion near watersheds. Increasing temperatures can promote algal growth and eutrophication. Invasive species also threaten the health of water systems, causing harm to the aquatic environment, the local economy, and/or human health. Lastly, pollution is another threat. Contaminants can become part of groundwater through rainfall, making the water unsafe for human consumption. Sediment pollution can occur when soil is washed off of land due to activities with farmland, urban areas, forestry, mining, and vegetation clearings. When the soil settles in water systems, it can impact species reproduction. Direct pollution can occur through activities such as industrial dumping, municipal sewage plants, and livestock operations. Normally, the effluent is treated before being released into water systems, but failures or floods can lead to release of untreated effluent, such as sewage. Additionally, particulate pollution from combustion engines can also lead to acid rain, affecting aquatic life. There are four main types of mining impacts on water quality. Acid mine drainage is made up of sulfuric acid and dissolved iron. Acid can be carried off the mine site by rainwater or surface drainage and deposited into waterways. AMD severely degrades water quality and can kill aquatic life and make water virtually unusable. Heavy metal pollution can also occur when metals contained in excavated or exposed rock leach out and are carried downstream. Processing chemicals pollution occurs when chemical agents spill, leak, or leach from the mine site into nearby water bodies. These chemicals can be highly toxic to humans and wildlife. Mining disturbs soil and rock in constructing and maintaining roads, open pits, and waste impoundments. Without prevention and control strategies, erosion can lead to sediment in water systems. Water for Life, Nova Scotia's water resource management strategy, was created in 2010. It provides guidance for water management in Nova Scotia for over the next 10 years. The strategy includes the following actions: support receiving and sharing of water quality and quantity information with government and the public, continuing to build, support, and integrate existing water monitoring networks to improve baseline data and assessment tools and identify stresses on water systems, identifying ecologically significant water resources such as wetlands and critical groundwater recharge areas, developing water budgets for surface and groundwater watersheds, engaging with post-secondary institutions, industry, and communities in order to improve knowledge about water-related issues across the province, and determining the impacts of climate change. Dalhousie University Hydrologic Systems Research Group, in collaboration with Nova Scotia Environment, has designed and initiated a Nova Scotia Watershed Assessment Program. This program involved 3.5 years of gathering, checking, and analyzing spatial information on Nova Scotia's watersheds, and helped reveal opportunities for risk prevention and goals for watershed restoration. Findings have shown that many of Nova Scotia's small coastal watersheds are facing high levels of stress. High populations exist in these areas, so the threats on water quality and supply are of concern. As of July 2013, the Notification of Contamination Protocol applies to all sites. The site owner must immediately notify the department or do so within 90 days, depending on the contaminant. Site owners must test and confirm suspected contamination. Cleanup is a responsibility of who owns the site of contamination or who is responsible for causing it. Nova Scotia has dozens of sites that were contaminated by gold mining dating back to the 1860s. During those times, mercury and cyanide were used to extract gold from rock, and the waste was dumped on the ground or in nearby waterways. Activities in the past were not as regulated, and now the government is responsible for the cleanup. An example of this is from Barry's Run in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia, located downstream from the historic Montague gold mining operations. HRM is warning people not to enter the water or consume fish from Barry's Run due to arsenic contamination. The former mining site is now owned by the province, which is beginning the process of trying to clean it up. This example calls for strong environmental assessment and regulatory systems so that the public does not have to foot the bill for water contaminating activities. Now there are stronger regulations in place, as seen with the Turquoise gold mine, which was opened in October 2017. They have 90 water monitoring stations and water is tested on a set schedule.
Mineral exploration and mining dates back in Nova Scotia to the 17th century. Since then, it has contributed majorly to Nova Scotia's economy and workforce, in 2006 employing about 6,300 workers and contributing $488.6 million to Nova Scotia's GDP. As was discussed though, mining has impacts on the communities, land, and environment where operations exist. I will discuss the management of impacts on mining land through exploration of mining reclamation in Nova Scotia. According to the Mineral Resources Act of 2016, a reclamation plan must be provided to the government prior to operations of a mining project in Nova Scotia. The reclamation plan must include a security, or an amount of money which can be cash, a negotiable bond, or other security in a form satisfactory to the minister, which is provided to the government as security for the reclamation of the mine post-operations. The security is estimated by the Department of Natural Resources or by the company or a hired consultant and reviewed by DNR, and includes costs for labor, equipment, supplies, and services required to reclaim the site. This plan must be updated every 3 years. Before the 2016 Minerals Resources Act, a reclamation plan was not required. Now it is required as of Section 86 in the Act, and there is no longer any grandfathering in for the companies in operation prior to this date. Leases under the 1990 Act must file a reclamation plan as of 2016, even if their operations have begun before that. Reclamation plans should clearly identify how the lessee proposes to decommission or reclaim the land that has been used for mining. This includes the long-term objective for the future use of the property following decommissioning. Short-term reclamation options include sloping, seeding, planting of native species, and fertilizing, while long-term options include managing the area for agricultural purposes, timber production, artificial water bodies or wetlands, wildlife habitat, recreational use, etc. It is common to see mining sites reclaimed as shopping malls, golf courses, or any other thing that could benefit the surrounding community. It is recommended by the Government of Nova Scotia that upon creating a reclamation plan and later reclaiming the site, the lessee involve the community. This is important as the community will have ideas as to how they would like the land to be used after the mining operations are complete. Although there are many suggestions on how to create a reclamation plan, there is very little regulation around management of the reclamation process. This leads to many lessees leaving land only partially reclaimed, meeting the standards that must be met for government approval, however not necessarily reflecting the state of the land prior to operations or what the community would like to see the land become. As of November 2018, the deadline for companies to begin reclaiming their sites within 12 months of operations end has been removed. According to CBC News, new regulations taking effect December 18, 2018 will make the cleanup timeline vary from a maximum of 3 to 5 years. This cleanup work includes anything from removing buildings and structures to surface contouring to revegetation work. Nova Scotia's government has a Nova Scotia Mine Reclamation Security Tracker. This is an Excel spreadsheet which includes all of the operational mines in Nova Scotia along with their company, status, commodity, reclamation security held in the reclamation plan, and cost estimate date. This allows the Nova Scotia government to stay up to date with the current reclamation plan and allows them to contact the company to get a more updated plan if required. As of September 2019, Nova Scotia has 13 active mining operations. Here is a video showing some reclaimed mine sites in Nova Scotia that you may recognize.
Is there life after a mine? The answer is yes. Across Nova Scotia, former mines and quarries find new life. Some come back as shopping centers, while others return as recreational fields. Other mines find new life as world-ranked golf courses. In fact, some of the most scenic places in Nova Scotia are also former mines and quarries. Here in Nova Scotia, what the mining and quarrying industry takes from the earth, we give back.